There we go.
Where are you at this moment, Lisa?
I am in Portland.
She's got a fan over her head.
I'm
I'll
in,
say hello to
I'm
my
in
daughter.
Northeast Portland, where it's raining as usual.
And I
Raining
also,
like normal.
and I also heard a whisper that you have a birthday.
She does.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, well I did. It's over now.
Yeah,
So no
three-
reason.
well,
to
yeah,
say
three-
anything.
Was
Yeah,
it a
hope
new?
you have
Was
the
it a new
weekend.
decade?
It was a new decade. Yep.
Okay, so
It
here
was,
we go,
and it was
folks.
very fun.
It's a past.
Oh,
It's a past happy birthday. Happy birthday
Thank
to
you.
you. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you. Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
President
President
Lisa.
Lisa.
Happy birthday
Birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Woo, woo, woo. Oh, that's amazing.
well, I
Good.
might be honest and say that was awful, but that was wonderful. Thank you. I feel
was
very,
awful.
very celebrated. You
Yeah.
guys are very good singers, and it was spectacularly great.
It was awfully wonderful.
Four-way test, the first
Thank
half
you,
of that.
Rudy. That was
Yeah, we had a
very
lot of
sweet.
broken eardrums there, so it was all good.
Is it true? Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, David had another thing he wanted to mention tonight about somebody who lost a parent.
Yes. Just want to
Aw.
recall Gary Malkin, who is a dear friend of ours, and also his mother just passed a couple days ago. She died, and she was in her late 90s, and it was family together, and she passed beautifully in terms of really being ready for that. But just again, thinking about life as we are all evolving, and think about those who we care for. Just hold Gary and his family in your heart. And he's such a talented person who gave us a lot last year. So I just
Yes.
wanted to pass that on.
Yeah, so he,
I met his mother years ago. She was a gem.
Oh yeah, she's a Spitfire. Yeah.
yeah, he led our online peace concert last year to help raise money that would go for the Ukraine relief. And so we're very thankful for him. He's like a family member here. So
Right. Thank you, Rudy.
Rudy, we have a little bit of an echo. Do you hear that?
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, it's probably Carol. There, I fixed that. Maybe not. Maybe it's Julie. I
I
think
think
it was
it's because
Julie?
someone's on a speakerphone.
Yeah, Julie was in there
Julie.
probably in the same area with John Dar. So I think that's where that was. Then. I think we fixed that, so I think we're okay. Julie, I temporarily
fraternizing.
muted you there.
I'm muted.
You were, yeah. You are now. There we go. And so that's where we are. So Lisa, you want me to go around everybody?
Go ahead. Welcome, everybody. It's a wonderful evening. We're going to do fireside chat and talk about all kinds of wonderful things, including the Rotary Code of Conduct in a super fun way. So take it away, Rudy.
Okay, thanks. Arthur's on there. Arthur, good to see you, sir. And he posted in the chat box.
We have, we're here at a Mexican restaurant in Baja. I mean, at a Chinese restaurant in Baja. My wife and I are having a Chinese dinner, and looking forward tonight. What Richard Denton put in the chat about the movement and the madman. It's a super important movie about how the movement stopped President Nixon from his plans to actually escalate up to nuclear with Vietnam. And it's going to be on American Experience, 9 o'clock tonight, 8 Central, for everybody to watch. And then tomorrow, we're interviewing the directors at 10 a.m. So I put that in the chat. Everybody can join us, and not the directors, the producers of the movie, the executive and the producer of the movie.
All right. Thanks.
So I hope
Thank
everybody
you,
will
sir.
join us.
Wonderful.
I think
Carol's
Richard's
on.
posting
Is that,
too.
Arthur, is that 9 o'clock Pacific time tonight?
9 o'clock, both Pacific and Eastern. That's 8 o'clock Central, but Eastern and Pacific both show American Experience at the same time, 9 p.m.
Thank you.
I put it in the chat there. So, all right. Hope you'll all watch it. Important movie. We're doing a whole series of movies on CBS on
Okay.
the nuclear issue. So
Okay.
talk about that later.
Okay. Thanks, Arthur. David Churchman, good to see you, sir. Yale, as always, great to see you. And Peter's hiding out in San Diego, staying cool down there. Peggy is, she thinks she's at the beach, but she's heading to North Carolina. Sala, good to see you. Getting some rain up there?
We've had sun for the last couple of days.
Oh, sorry about that. And Andrea, who are you?
I'm actually back in Arizona. I was in Nevada last week and maybe next, but I made it home for a day.
Okay, bring your snow shovel when you come up here. And the Warren, good to see you tonight. How's your bride?
Well, she's well, thank you. We're enjoying having Lisa in our company.
That's what I understand. There you go. And Bob McKechnie, how are things in Cathedral City? I think all is well out there. Joni, good to see you tonight. And Tom Snyder, how are you, sir?
I'm doing real good. We did a diversity, equity, and inclusion thing at our Peace Poll on the spring equinox last Tuesday. I think I sent you something on it. We have 2 indigenous languages and English and Spanish, and then we support a deaf school. So we put Mexican Sign Language on there, and
Cool.
we also had Braille. And we had
Wow.
a blind lady join our club at 86. You know, I mean, like you gotta kind of be the strong Rotarians. And then we had these 4 deaf school kids come and sign the "May Peace Prevail on Earth." And it was attended by about 40 people. And it was
Wow.
It was you know, we kind of rocked it, man. I'm feeling
Pretty pumped up, huh? Yeah. Thanks, Tom, for doing that. That's great. And thanks for sharing that. David, good to see you. We haven't talked since about an hour ago. Richard Denton, how are things up in Canada?
Snow is melting.
Oh, good. We need some melting down here too. Jean Marie, where are you located, young lady?
In Eugene, Oregon.
Okay. We have Oregonians on here tonight.
Go Ducks.
Oh, something like
That's
that.
what I was going to say. Go Ducks.
Go Ducks, yeah.
That's where I went.
Best team money can buy.
My granddaughter's there.
There you go.
I love Eugene.
Okay, everybody's hanging out there. Okay, Julie, good to see you. And Carolyn, how are things down in Alabama?
Wonderful. I wanted you all to see I'm having a fireside chat.
Oh, there you go. You got the real thing going on there.
It's gotten cool here, although it's been
Okay.
spring, but suddenly it's 39 degrees again.
Oh gosh, congratulations. The and of course Carolyn's got and will with the Birmingham Rotary Club having their peace conference coming up May 4th, 5th, and 6th. So check online, register. Karen and I are going to go down there. I'm actually speaking, I think, and
Couple of times.
couple times, I think. And so we're gonna have a good time down there. So it's gonna be a nice peace conference they're putting on, and they've formatted it after our 2016 and 2020 conferences that they attended out here. So we appreciate all the efforts you're doing down there.
Thank you. I'll put the website in the chat and you all go on and look at the speakers who are really impressive.
And of course, Jennifer Jones will be there. Also, past President Ravi Ravrindan from Sri Lanka will be there, and there's a whole bunch of people on there. So take a look at that. It's going to be a good session to attend. So it's good stuff. And Carolyn, please let us know if there's any help. I'm sure we can give through Rotary up in Mississippi where the devastation happened. There's probably a little bit in Alabama, but our thoughts and prayers go out to those folks. There's whole towns have been erased over there. So
Thank you. We have a friend from Mississippi, a Rotarian, who gave me the name of some people where we could send funding if anybody's interested. I'll see if I can pull that up and put it in the chat.
that'd be great.
That would be great.
Yeah, we need to help those folks up there. I know it's
Just
really
wiped
tough
out
time.
this town. Just
Yeah.
apparently there were 40 Rotarians, and every single Rotarian either lost a house or a business.
Yeah,
But not their life.
Yeah, I've been, well, there were lives lost over there, but not, fortunately,
No.
not some of those. So, yeah, so let us know that, and we'll also get with the district here, connect those two districts together and see if we can get some funding over there to help on the recovery side.
Thank you.
Devin, good to see you.
Great to be here. Thank you.
John Dar is our superstar. He's highlighted in the newest Rotary magazine and the work he's done with his kids over there. So we have a superstar here doing great work, and the work he's done with these young people and connecting them and the work they're doing and training other young people is second to none. So you're an amazing guy, John Dar, and we're humbled and honored to have you as a member of our club. Marilyn King, you're hiding out with having gone to the dermatologist, but hope all is well.
All is well, thanks.
Good. Dominique is, of course, down in Haiti. She's joining us this evening, one of our members, and they're going, as you know, there's difficult times down there. And many children in need that need to get some food in their stomachs. And so we need to see how we help connect down there in that area. There are Rotary clubs in Haiti. It's a terrible, terrible time down there, but we all need to reach out and help each other. Ray, how are you, sir? Long time no see. And what else we got on here? Dennis Wong is on. He's got his hair styled up tonight. He's up in Connecticut. Anil, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. Glad to be here. Looking forward to the fire chat.
Good. Natalie is up in Sacramento.
Yeah, I'm here. Glad to be here. Your wife just let me know that we have the same address. And I found your last week email and I just push. I'm so glad to be here. We have a lot of news in Russia. Yeah.
That's great. Obviously, you can probably understand that she is a Russian and is a connection over there and has been connected with our Rotarians in Vladivostok.
Yes.
And so that's our local connection there. And we're working on getting an invitation over to the president and president-elect in the Vladivostok Club to come to the United States. And so we're trying to help with that to make
You
that happen.
see, they just back from Moscow. They had a meeting in Moscow for almost 5 days. And I'm very thankful and I'm very glad that our future president elected will be a very good gentleman, Andrei Tishaninov, and he already involved in a few programs with kids and you know, some young ladies like a mother with a child without husband or something like that, you know. He already involved in this program and he's very happy to be back in Vladivostok. And yesterday I spent half of night to talk to Elena Harchenko. She is a representative for Pacific Russia for our district, representative with the government. We have a governor, Loomis. Oh, long story. Anyway, it will be so nice to see them here. I already gave my address to connect with me, and they will take a visa. It's funny, in Korea. So they will go to Korea in April by boat and to visit American embassy and visa department to get a visa to United States because they plan to be here in September, October.
Good. We look forward to seeing them and appreciate that connection.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Eva Chen. Eva, you're muted there. Welcome to the meeting tonight. Ashazan. Yazan. Yeah, how are you tonight?
Doing wonderful.
Super, super. believe we made it through the group here. We have, let's see, 30
Peter's
people on
hands up.
tonight. And so, I'm sorry?
Is Peter's hand up?
Yeah, he's probably, his arm is tired though. He dropped it down. So Peter, do
are
you
you
want to unmute yourself? You still have your hand up? Nope, not really shaking his head. So he's okay. We've been through that. And so tonight we're going to break out into discussion groups and come back. And I think we have 30 people on, so we'll do it, I think, in about 6 groups, if that's okay, Lisa.
Yeah, I think so. And so Dennis, are you going to say a few words about what inspired this, and then we can announce the questions?
Sure. Thank you very much. One of the things that there's a saying said, without trust, there can be no real peace, genuine peace, without trust. And I think today's discussion is possibly how could our Rotary values, principles, and approaches create and sustain that kind of trust that's needed to have a real and flourishing peace. I think that, that's one of the things that our values are basically the, like a Rotary, service above self, the understanding and goodwill about peace. And our values or principles is basically in the Rotarian Code of Conduct, which talks about integrity, high ethical standards, fairness, and respect in moving forward, in going forward. And then some of our approaches, of course, it talks about the 4-way test, the positive peace, the 8 pillars of peace, and our own peace building and conflict prevention focus. So really, I think we've got a package within our Rotary values, principles, and approaches that could be, the way forward as far as generating peace. So I think this is the conversation, is what we have as Rotarians and how do we use it to achieve what our club is all about. And so I think it'd be interesting to see what happens. And so I got the questions, Lisa, that for opening, but my question would be, what's the best thing about the Rotary Code of Conduct to get to where we want to get to? So thank you for this opportunity, really, to talk about the Rotary Code of Conduct and our, which is part of our vocational service, etc. So take it away, back to you, Lisa.
You got it. Okay, super. It occurs to me we should probably put the Rotary Code of Conduct in the chat, right? So that people know what it is. I mean, some people do, some people might not. So I'm going to do that right now. And then as, oops, it's a little longer than that. And so we will, we're going to distribute it to each of the rooms by message, and I can put it in the chat now if someone is able to do that while I'm talking. I can't talk and type, and also I'm on a little laptop. But in any event, we're going to talk about the Rotary Code of Conduct, and then as Dennis framed it, and that is, this is, it's all about building trust, right? And so living our values and building trust. So the best thing, the 2 questions are, the best thing about trust and the Rotary Code of Conduct as it exemplifies trust is to each of us. And then the best thing about the Rotarian Code of Conduct is. And so we're going to jump into our break rooms. But again, Rudy, I don't think we should do that before we figure out how we can put the Rotary Code of Conduct in the chat so that people can see it. Here we go. I'm going to do it right now. And also we will, oh, can I do that?
Lisa, what about reading it through also, so you could read it to everybody?
Oh yeah, I can do that. Well, yeah, we'll forget, but yes, I will read it. Why don't I do that? I can do that right now. Okay, Rotary Code of Conduct for everyone. And so again, we're going to try to put these in the chat room so that you'll see that in the breakout rooms. As a Rotarian, I will exemplify the core value of integrity in all behavior and activities. Number 1. Exemplify the core value of integrity in all behaviors and activities. Number 2, use my vocational experience and talents to serve in Rotary. So the second is using my vocational experience and talents to serve. 3, conduct all of my personal business and professional affairs ethically, encouraging and fostering high ethical standards as an example to others. Again, number 3, conducting all of my personal and business and professional affairs ethically. 4, be fair in all dealings with others and treat them with respect due to them as fellow human beings. Again, 4, be fair in all dealings with others and treat them with the respect that is due to them. 5, promote recognition and respect for all occupations which are useful to society. Again, promoting recognition and respect for all occupations which are useful to society. 6, use my vocational talents to provide opportunities for young people to work for the relief of special needs of others and to improve the quality of life in my community. So again, 6, offer my vocational talents to provide opportunities for young people and working for the relief and special care of others. 7, honor the trust that Rotary and fellow Rotarians provide and do not do anything that will bring disfavor or reflect adversely on Rotary or fellow Rotarians. Again, 7, pardon me. Honor the trust that Rotary and fellow Rotarians provide and do not do anything that will bring disfavor or reflect adversely. And 8, there are 8 points. Not seek from a fellow Rotarian a privilege or advantage not normally accorded to others in a business or professional relationship. Again, number 8, not seek from a fellow Rotarian a privilege or advantage not normally accorded to others. So that is the Rotarian Code of Conduct. Again, we will have those in the chat. And the questions, just once again, I know it's a lot. It's a brain drain or late in the day or early in the morning. So the best thing about trust generally is, that's question number 1. And the best thing about the Rotarian Code of Conduct is, and that is question number 2. So we can go into our breakout rooms. We're going to put these questions and also the Code of Conduct in chat so people can see them. And we will see you all back. Rudy, what's a good time? About 7:15 so we can discuss as a large group again? What do you think?
Sounds good.
7:15 is fine.
You got about 20 minutes? Yeah, okay. We've got about 20 minutes there. So let's go away, whisked away. I love it like Dorothy in Kansas. We're going away to Oz. See you guys on the other side. Rudy, I'm going to join room 3. It seems a little light.
Okay.
Okay.
Karen, we're going into breakout rooms.
Okay. I'm sorry, I was in another one and I got another Zoom and I didn't notice the time.
Yeah, we've got to get you. I'm going to send you to. I'm going to put you over with Natalia, in room number 4.
Okay. Now, how do I negotiate that one? Or
I'm
just-
going to send you there.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You can just click on it and go there.
Join. So I say join, right?
Join, right? There you go.
Not only in business, but in our personal lives as well.
Hi, Rudy. I'm glad you joined us.
I'm trying to make sure everybody got a sign somewhere.
We'd love for you to stay with us if you'd like.
That'd be great. Go ahead, guys. I'll
So
let you break.
exemplify the core values of integrity in all behaviors and activities. You know, I think I wouldn't mind reading these every single week. I think it's a great reminder of how to live, and we have to continue to inject that into our lives, into our thinking, so that it just becomes, you know, part of our skin, because we're challenged as human beings to have prejudice and to be selfish and, you know, all those human condition things that we live with. And so I think that this Rotary Code of Conduct is really beautiful. And so let's talk about how we used it this week.
Yeah, I was thinking on that note, just like we have some part of our scriptures, whether Bhagavad Gita or Bible, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Some things framed and on the wall or something like that. Maybe this kind of a code of conduct could be, you know, put in some kind of laminated way and maybe sent to everybody, or somehow something we can produce even ourselves and then hang it on the wall. I agree with John Dar. These are some principles I find good for life, just as reminders.
Mhm.
And of course, we may not read them often, but if they're on the wall, you can't stop your eyes from wandering onto that, right? Like Maharshi would said, eyes will seek out knowledge.
Love that. Well, how long did it take Lisa to read it? A minute and a half? I think we should read it every time. I vote for that, Rudy.
It's
That's
eight-
certainly not crazy. I do think the it's important in this context to add discussion of Rotary's diversity, equity, and inclusion policy. The code of conduct is old, and it's well incorporated and ingrained into Rotary culture. But the DEI policy is not. It is new in 2019, updated in 2021. And I left a Rotary Club because they opposed, rather openly opposed, the DEI policy.
Wow.
Wow.
Now we have two of our members, Devin, David Wick and Dennis Wong, are on our district DEI committee and helped develop the program for DEI. And you probably were at our meeting where they made that presentation to us. That is something we need to, you're correct, share and practice, and make sure it's ingrained in us. And I totally understand what you're saying. You know, each of us has, and we've had speakers on that talked about unconscious bias and some different things. Even today, we had this huge snowstorm, and our windshield broke because of the weight of 8 feet of snow.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was down in the middle of San Bernardino getting my windshield replaced, and I drove back. And there's areas down there where we have a lot of homeless folks in that region. You know, also in certain areas of San Bernardino, there's a lot of gang activity. And driving back through, I drove back through some areas. I took some different streets than I had taken before, just to kind of get a feel of what the city looked like and felt like on my way back. And I could feel, it gave me a different perception with the number of homeless and their encampments and where they're located in, and different areas down there that were in need than I'd been through before. And I probably had, right or wrong, avoided going down some of those streets before. But this put me an opportunity to go through some of those areas I had not been through before. That gave me a new view of what those communities look like and felt like, and actually did some shopping in a couple areas, stopped, picked up some groceries and stuff, and greeted some folks, and just try to get that connection and feel. So I think that's some of this practice. Each of us needs to get out of our comfort zone each day and practice this, not just read it. But how do we turn out and put this into practice?
Well said. Well said, Rudy. So, Devin, were you on the committee to form the DEI policy?
Oh, no. I have no connection to that whatsoever. Just love that we are doing it belatedly. We're taking a stand and the right stand on these issues. And, I don't mean to suggest that Rotary's had a problem with this. I was invited to be the keynote speaker by a district governor a decade ago at her district conference, and she was an open lesbian. And so, she had a district that was very inclusive. She was welcomed and lauded and celebrated. But yeah, I'm not in a district like that now, living geographically in a district like that now.
Arthur, go ahead.
Can I chime in here? Go ahead.
Go ahead, Arthur.
Go ahead. Oh, well, I just want to say I think it's so important to do diversity and inclusion. My parents met at a civil rights meeting to integrate a lunch counter sit-in in Washington, D.C. And my brother and I were the only white kids in a black summer camp in Rock Creek Park. And we, Molly and I and my daughter had an amazing experience going to the Gang Peace Summit in Watts after the riots. And we were the only white folks there, but our good friend T. Rogers was one of the original gangsters who founded the Bloods, was actually an incredible guy working on turning the gangs into social institutions to help people. And, there's such a rich cultural experience and so much we miss out on without the inclusion and diversity. And it's just so enriching for our lives. So great for my grandchildren and grandchildren to experience that. My daughter, still has very fond memories of being a teenage girl in a room full of gangsters and Bloods and Crips working out a peace agreement between them. And there she is, this 13-year-old teenage white girl in the middle of it all. And my wife, Molly, here says she felt safer. Well, tell her what you said about safer.
Never felt safer in my life. Just absolutely knew I was in a place that I would never get, nothing bad would happen to me, at least not caused by another human being.
So anyway, it's so much diversity has so many great things. And my high school was about half black, half white, and 20% foreign students from all over the world. So what a rich cultural experience. Anywhere we talked about in the world, there were kids from that country talking, because they were, we were near the embassies in Washington, D.C. So we had that rich cultural experience of international as well as diversity of colors. So anyway, it's a boon to all of our lives. I mean, it enriches our lives. There's no downside to it. Diversity and inclusion is fantastic.
So Devin, do you think that we need to add the EDI policy in with the Rotary Code of Conduct? Should it be integrated?
Well, it would be my view that we're still as an organization working on the latter more than the former. And so if we're going to talk routinely about one of these two, I think the DEI policy is more important. And I hate to in any way contradict or anything, because the code of conduct is beautiful. All the praise that I've heard tonight for it is apt. But I think it's well incorporated. I've never met a Rotarian that didn't live those principles. But some very good people are still struggling with the DEI stuff. That's why I kind of want us to be emissaries, examples, role models. And, you know, the reality is too, I also admit that I struggle with this. I want to be better at this, at DEI, at inclusion than I am. And so you know, continuing to study, work and learn is important to me. But
Yeah, we have in our club, of course, Dennis Wong right now is DEI chair. Next year is going to be Hezekiah Gabriel. And so we have a committee in our club. And so not every club has that. And so I think it's important for us to add a few more members in there to make sure that we're covering all the bases here. And we really, you know, it's a little different with our club because our club represents the world. So what's the world look like? Do we really represent it? And in a land-based club where they meet in a certain community, in fact, our DEI chair just spoke the other day and mentioned that when she goes to a meeting to talk about it, she looks up the data and the demographics of the community that the club exists in, and looks at their club and challenges them to make sure their membership looks like the community that they exist in.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I was a member of an all-white club in a community that was 22% African American.
Wow.
And when I challenged them about that, I got some very disheartening reactions.
So what did you say? What did you say, Devin?
Well, they told me about the one African American member that they had, and he was offended by something that a Republican visiting politician had said, and the membership chair tried to comfort him because the Republican had said something about Black Lives Matter being bad, and you know, in front of a Black person, I think that takes a lot of cojones right there. But the membership chair tried to solve the problem by explaining to a Black man that Black Lives Matter was in fact a bad, anti-Christian, horrible organization, and that he should understand that. And I literally blew a gasket when he told me this. It was a private one-on-one conversation. I literally came out of my chair and I said, "You cannot say that to a Black man. You're just not allowed to have that opinion and express it." That may have not been the right thing to do or say, but that was my initial reaction. You just, even if you think it, you can't say that to person as a way of comforting them with respect to Rotary. I probably handled that poorly, but in any case, that's.
Did the African American member resign?
Yes. Yeah.
And so did you?
Yes.
So you made a statement.
Yeah, it was.
Can I just chime?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Neil, chime in there, please.
Yeah, please. So I'm in academia, and academia has its own issues like that. We discuss those things, but we have our own. So just today, just an hour ago, I received this email from one of our junior women colleagues from an Asian country. And it was pretty interesting. This exchange has been going on for a day and a half. I'm the chair of a sort of research committee, and this is what she describes. So let me just read aloud just a short part. She says, "What's more?" Okay, she says, "What's more, it has been my bitter observation that traditionally marginalized group members within bracket, for example, racialized, female, younger/emerging scholars, etc., were usually not sufficiently recognized or even recognized at all for the hard work they had, while privileged groups within bracket, for example, white, male, senior established scholars, etc., would easily take credit for the hard work that was done by the minority members. Therefore, minority members are forced to fight the good fight almost every moment to gain even a minimum level of recognition, and so on and so forth." saying I could. So this is, I think, and I just try to comfort her, saying basically, I'm for you, and you can run it your way. I myself a minority member in some ways, so that's okay. But just imagine this is there among people who are doing well otherwise, but it's all the relative thing. And it just struck me, remember that last week or so we had this African American woman speak about the kids there, how she's helping.
Mhm.
And she said, well, the Kenyan kids and African kids are okay. He doesn't have bread. He doesn't have more than 2 clothes. I don't have more than 2 clothes. I don't know anything better. So we are happy. It's only in US when somebody has this much, like Rudy, you were saying, somebody has not even a house and not bread and all the stuff, and you have to provide, and somebody's living in those riches. That creates a heartburn. And that is the heart of the sort of inequity or inequality. So I think it's a moral shame, of course, because economic inequality is another big one, not just racial and others. So and there's of course race goes beyond black. I mean, there's other ethnicities who are not American or whites and all that stuff.
No, that's why
So it's a bigger issue, I think, beyond even. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why I had Marilyn Tam, who's a member of our club, speak about what it was like to be, what's it like to be Asian in America, and challenge her to speak up about that. And certainly that's an important topic, has been and is still today. And I grew up in a little town in upstate New York in the Finger Lakes with 250 people in the town. And it was, in the high school I went to had 42 kids in my graduating class. And we had only everybody was white except there was one Puerto Rican family in the area. And then I went to Cornell and 1968. And it was in the heart of the what was happening in the United States at that time. And the civil rights movement was really getting started. And the blacks marched across the campus and took over Wildred Strait Hall at Cornell. And for me, this little guy from Podunk nowhere opened up to the big world of a Cornell University campus and this happening. I had to learn about what was really going on in America. And that was a real eye-opening for me and a learning opportunity for me to embrace what was going on there and try to understand it better and try to get involved and make changes. And so for me, that was like, it was quite amazing. In fact, one of my roommates was the newscaster for our radio station. So he was broadcasting out of our dorm room at that time. But it was an interesting time in America, certainly in the 60s, 68. And quite honestly, I'm glad I was at that time in my life that happened. And it forever made a change in my mind, in my brain that helped me. So,
well,
I was at
Rudy,
Cornell a few weeks later.
yeah. Okay, we're gonna have to go back to the main sessions. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry I took so much time.
It was wonderful.
Here we go.
we were talking about the DEI policy and kind of our personal experience with growing up with diversity or not. And Rudy, my question to you is, in your home, did your parents talk about differences in people? Were you encouraged to see people as people rather than with color or differences?
Yes, we didn't. There was no negative talk in our home at all. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I didn't feel that at all. I lost my mother died at the age of 46, a week before I graduated high school. with lung cancer. So it was certainly a difficult time and a growth period for me. Right after that, going to college and stuff. So it was an interesting time. No, I was not raised to be prejudiced.
Oh,
I was.
hello. Yes, I have a question about book, and it will be nice to connect. I hope Rudy will help us to connect to each other about books we have about history or whatever. And okay, I will close my microphone right now, and we will continue meeting.
Carolyn, weren't you saying I was raised to be? Did I hear that say that?
Pardon?
Did I hear you say that? Do you want to expand on that?
Not really. I will in a breakout room one day.
Okay.
Anil, I'm not proud of that. I want you to know.
No, I just want to see how it happened. Like that's I don't not. We know that you are very much.
Well, I grew up in
but-
the South. That'll give you a little insight.
Right, right. I suspect, but okay.
Yeah. But we'll have that conversation another time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how to transcend.
Since you proffered, I thought maybe you wanted to share something. Yeah.
There we go. It's I spent 20 years in Atlanta, and they're still fighting the Civil War. They think they actually won.
You know, I would say in India, we come here and my kids would say, "Oh, you don't know, Dad, what it means to be out brown skin in there and all that stuff." And then we hear all these our own people in India said, "Do you know how racist you guys are there?" I mean, it's just so much that the higher caste system or color itself is there, and women, and forget about the gays there. It's still acceptable to say DEI. We have a label here. There it gets very much more difficult conversation. So I think this shift for it's problematic, traumatic for humanity. Those who have grown up in a certain generation, and as people live longer, I think we have to come to terms with 2, 3, 4 generations of change, and especially in an era where change is happening so much faster. In 10 years, everything changes as against like to 40 years to change. So it's like on any particular day, we are living as a if you're with a 20-year-old, we have a very different mindset. I was saying something. I said, well, this is something I'll post it something. I won't name it. I was studying. It's a nice little about a bird. I thought I'll told my daughter. She said, "Oh, be careful. It might offend somebody." So, any innocent jokes cannot be innocent anymore.
Right. Absolutely.
Anyway.
How about let's start going around here. Group number 1, whoever that is, can you comment on what happened in your room?
Yes, they nominated me to speak.
All right.
We focused mostly on number 4 of the code of conduct: be fair in all dealings with others and treat them with the respect due to them as fellow human beings. And we talked about how it's easy as a Rotarian to be respectful to the guy who's the president of the bank. But what about being respectful to the human being who's standing on the corner with a cup, hoping you'll give him $1 as you drive by? Do you put the dollar in and look the other way, or do you say hello, how are you, and connect with him? So that was one thing we talked about. Another thing that we were interested in was some of us thought that the code of conduct is a little bit archaic. It was written when Rotary was more of a business person's organization, and that we need to include forgiveness. Now, somewhere in the code of conduct, we will forgive, because without forgiveness, we're not going to make it in this world. That's my opinion, and I think that was all of our opinion. In fact, Peggy's going to a conference. Peggy's going to a conference in Brisbane on that very subject. See, what else did we say, Bob? What else did you want me to say?
Yale, I appointed you as the leader of this group, so I wouldn't have to do it myself.
I forgive you, brother.
Okay, well, we've also felt quickly that when you have something like a code of conduct, you write it down, then you put it on the shelf and forget it, and the years pass. The thing is, it has to be like my first Rotary Club, they read the four-way tests every single time. And sometimes we would talk about an incident that happened that the four-way test was part of the thinking about it or something like that. We also have to repeat these things and repeat them with slightly new ways of looking at them. So they'll kind of like stay alive, and stay alive having to do with what's going on today. All right, so I'm gonna mute myself now.
Okay, was that it for group number 1?
That's it.
Okay, number 2.
Devin, will you go for it?
Well, yes, thank you. I distracted the group a little bit with our discussion about DEI, and the point I made was that having been in Rotary now for a decade, I think the code of conduct is pretty well integrated into the culture of Rotary, and that Rotarians are really good at that. But that our DEI policy was new in 2019. And was substantially revised and upgraded in 2021. So it's really quite new by comparison. And so it hasn't been fully internalized. And I left a club that was a whites only club, not necessarily strictly by policy, but certainly by practice, in a community that had about 22% African Americans. And so I think that's an important thing for us to include in our discussion of the code of conduct. And so we talked a little bit about that in the group, and I think there was a strong consensus that certainly DEI is important.
What is DEI?
Oh, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Ah,
There we got it. That's good. Anything else to add from group 2? I think we're all good. So I think that was a good discussion we had there, Devin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Group 3.
I will go for group 3. It's Lisa. So I lost my internet, but I'm going to remain on phone. And so we had a wonderful discussion where it sort of boiled down to people having each other's backs. And so it seems like a simple phrase, but it's really profound, because when someone has your back, that's the essence of trust. And it means 2 things. Number 1, that they want good for you. And number 2, that they will not do you harm intentionally. And it doesn't mean that harm doesn't happen, but it means that we have a group of people together who are looking out for one another in sort of every way. And then I also think it goes beyond what was said before, and that is the code of conduct is archaic, but of course it was written for another time. And so in our time, it really means that people in all walks of life, whether or not you're in business or professional, and it's no longer, it's Rotary is more than a professional club these days, have people's backs, and we have people's backs around the world. And I was very touched by that, because I really feel like we're a global family.
Yes,
And so that was the essence of our discussion. Peter or
Yes.
Dominique or Andrea or John Marie, if you wanted to add anything to that.
You said it all.
Okay, well, that is our report. It was very beautiful.
Wait.
I have to say, I was just saying to someone here, it's a very, the discussion could be less deep than it was if people didn't take it seriously, and people take these discussions that we have seriously in the best possible sense of the word, really to heart. And I think that speaks volumes about the members of the club.
this is Jean Marie. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
I was very moved as a 7th grader. My father, basically, there were 2 country clubs in my town in Sacramento at the time. And my father basically said if they did not accept this Jewish man named Harry Tonkin, that he would publicize the fact that they did not accept him. And basically, it wasn't the best way to get it, but he basically shamed and embarrassed them into letting him in. And I just, that has always really made a profound difference. You know, that's social justice. And love is what social justice looks like in public, or social justice is what love looks like in public or something.
Super. That's very good. Thank you for sharing that. Group number 4, please.
I'll speak up. In group number 4, we had Marilyn King, Warren Banks, Sharon Tennyson, and Nata. And we came around about trust on the world stage, about world peace, and why our leaders are not necessarily trustworthy. And what could we as Rotary and Rotarians do? And one of the things that do we have the capability, or even, you know, the will, commitment to do something? And it's a question. And we know we have 2 million members around the world. And so I think that's the challenge. If we feel that the leaders aren't doing the right things, what are we doing about it as voters, as you know, different aspects of our, whatever our capabilities are, because that's what the Rotarian Code of Conduct says, is, you know, using our abilities to improve the lives of people, quality of life of people around the world, in our communities and around the world. So that's the question and challenge. So we see trust is a major factor. We think there's trust on the local level, in our personal level, in most of the cases. But when we move up to the, I guess, higher levels of government, and be it national or even and international, that's where the challenge is. And again, that's what makes our club different, is that we chose to name ourselves Rotary Club of Peace, World Peace. And so we didn't choose to be Rotary Club of Westport, Connecticut. Or Crestline, you know? So basically there's a thought. So, you know what, that's the challenge. So that's what we talked about a little bit.
Cool. How about
I thought that Sharon Tennyson's comment about the role that citizen diplomacy has always played in building trust between countries was really relevant today as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
And we still have plenty of work to do on that, so no shortage. Okay, group number 5, please.
I don't know what number we were. Is that us?
Probably.
We had just 4 groups, I believe.
Okay. A lot of, or some of what we talked about is what other people have said. And I just love all the comments in our group and the ones that I'm hearing from other groups. I think we talked about these aspects as integrity and so forth, as creating a safe space, a place where we can grow, and where not only is it safe, we find models of people doing good things, and that helps people create their intentions and grow and do what we're all doing out in the world as peacekeepers. And we would be, it's a practice. Our club is a practice. And I think somebody mentioned that, they had said that in another way, that we're practicing these things. It's not something that you read and put on the shelf, as Dennis said, or someone said. We're practicing it at our meetings. We're practicing it in our projects. We're practicing it in the way that we treat people and how we walk in the world. And Rotary is a place where you can learn how to do that and be supported. And like you said, Lisa, we have your back and you have somebody else's back. So we're helping people do that. And when we can set those intentions, that gives us the ability to make change. And in today's world, that is very, very needed. And I think one of the other groups, I think somebody in our group said that Dennis gets up and says the four-way test in the morning. And somebody else today mentioned that that might be a good way to start our meeting or work it into our meetings in some way. And I too, when I go to Rotary meetings in Ghana, that's how they start their meetings, with the four-way test. So
I
I
don't
think
know what that means.
there are four, I hope I can say them. There are four things of the test of a Rotarian. Can somebody else say those for her? And
Things we think, say, and do. First.
Is it the truth?
Second.
Is it fair to all concerned?
Third.
Will it build goodwill and better
friendships?
relationships?
And fourth.
Will
Is
it be
fair to all
beneficial to
concerned?
all?
Beneficial to all concerned.
There you go. We didn't have to have a banner up in front to say those.
so when you start your meeting that
Hey,
way,
we do videos that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes.
so when you start your meeting that way, it reminds you.
I think the big thing, thanks for sharing that. I think the big thing here is that each of us challenge ourselves to practice the four-way test, follow the Rotary Code of Conduct, and those things. We would not have a polio eradication effort today if people in communities didn't trust us. If they didn't trust us to get out there, and the woman putting 3 drops in the little child's mouth to save them from polio, if there wasn't trust in that, we wouldn't have almost eradicated this disease from the planet. And so it's very basic to what we do in Rotary. We couldn't work on a project in another country if we're in the United States working on a project in Uganda or some other country in the world here. They wouldn't allow us to be there if they didn't trust us that we were there to help them. Not giving them a handout, but we're involved in learning about what their needs are and helping support and those needs. So trust is very basic as us as Rotarians being able to get out in the world and connect with each other and do the good work we do worldwide.
And I think what we said in our group maybe is that we're trusted and we trust people because we're respected and we respect people.
There you go.
That's a very important part of the trust.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd like to point out too that almost every Rotary club that I have met with over the years in Russia uses the four-way test as their beginning statement. This is absolutely sacrosanct. They never had any sort of statement like this before. And it was amazing to me that they chose to do this around the country. I noticed that we don't do it with our St. Petersburg club, but because it's basically they're trying to figure out how we can be a club, join a club or be joined with them in a way that works without any kind of challenges. But when they meet themselves, this is what they do.
The Mexican club down here, and they repeat the purpose of Rotary out loud after the four-way test, which is, it's not really that long. It's like, getting up and saying the four-way test in the morning. I like that to say the purpose for Rotary. I mean, they probably had people that thought about all those words: code of conduct, purpose of Rotary, DEI policy, like just using that. It's like kind of like reading the Rotary magazine, I mean, there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Another thing they do in Ghana is after they say the four-way test, they do what you said, but they assign a person each time to tell the purpose of Rotary. So somewhere in the year, you're going to have to think about that because you're going to have to
be the one that says it.
Yeah. Very good. Well, this has been a great discussion tonight. Dennis, you might close with the word, and then Lisa, close it out for us. Dennis, you're muted there, so
Dennis, go
you're
ahead.
talking to yourself.
As I always do. It was a great conversation. I think people brought up a lot of good things about what we do and how we have gained people's trust. And I think as our club and Rotary, maybe it's really taking it up to the next level or a different level in our area of focus, which is peace building and conflict prevention. And I think this is the thing that I would like to see, and we would like to see, and why this club is joined, is to take it to the next level on how do we build, based on this trust that we have, our credibility, how do we engage people, leaders, countries, whatever it is, to prevent conflict. And I think that's the challenge that we have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent, Dennis. Excellent.
In Russia, I visited Russia this time, August, September, October, November, and just end of December, I had my ticket to Sacramento. And every time when we had a meeting, before we use a bell, like boom, we had like a short prayer, all these lines, because actually I invited personally in my club, new 6 members, 6 of them. And every time they repeated it with us, and we gave them copy of our rules, like a gift. And we used to do that. We need to remember why we are Rotarians, why people supposed to trust us, and what we can do to help people around us. Thank you for attention.
Thank you. Lisa, close it out, please.
That is beautiful. 1 second. Hold on 1 second. I got back on and I'm saving the chat for Jean Marie. And then, so, you
Thank
know,
you
I was
so
saying
much.
to someone here, I'm staying with friends, and that is it's so remarkable. And I've been to a lot of Rotary clubs and I speak a lot, but the heartfeltness of this particular club for some reason is so genuine. And so, and as we go around the world and look at all the faces, it's so representative of the best of us. And I just want to say thank you for everybody who took part in the conversation, who spent time with us today. These are not just the topics to talk about. These are ways to live lives, and we all do, or we aspire to. And so for everyone here, thank you very much. Again, it was a wonderful
you.
conversation. Of course,
Thank
we'll have another
you.
wonderful conversation next week, because we always do. And the 4-way test. Be on notice, everyone. I had an idea, 4-way test popcorn, which is, we're going to go around just like Yale did earlier today, and we're going to, let's answer the 4-way test. And we can do that just by popcorn, by people yelling out the answers we go by. I think that would be super fun.
Lot of
Way
fun.
to make it real and bring a little levity into everybody's lives. We talk about very heartfelt, deep subjects, and sometimes they're very hard to listen to. So we can also have a little bit of fun, and we can live by the 4-way test. And so thank you very much. Thank you, Rudy, and everybody have a wonderful evening.
Thank you,
And
everyone.
please send your
care.
thoughts and
Thank
prayers
you so much.
and more over to Nashville, Tennessee for those 4 folks over there.
Yes.
Fine.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Awesome.
Great.
And that's going to be our
Thank you,
topic for
Lisa.
next week, actually, is how we
It
do
is David Kennedy.
Exactly.
Wonderful. Thank you all.
Thank
Take
you
care.
all.
Bye-bye.
Good
night,
night.
everyone.
much.
Lisa, and thanks for the fun
Thank you, Lisa.
and integration.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.